So Apple released the iPhone 13 series today, and I'm really wondering how hard a screen replacement would be on this phone. Because the internals are all different, it's a different process. But is it a harder one? Let's find out. So because there are no parts available for this phone, I have another iPhone 13 Pro and I've taken off the screen and removed all the parts. So we're going to be simulating a screen replacement and seeing exactly how hard this is. First things first, we're going to unscrew. So Apple uses the same pentalobe screws they always do, no surprise there. Unscrew the second one. So because I've already opened up this phone, the adhesive is weak, but I'm still going to heat it up just to make sure because the screen is extremely thin and I feel like a lot of people are going to break it when they're trying to fix it. Now the screen is nice and hot. It is time to open this up. We're going to stick our Jimmy tool in. Now this tool is the best for these kind of phones. I found it to be the most useful. The gap is really small this year, so it is hard to get in there. Okay, so for whatever reason, it's harder than normal. What we're gonna do is grab a suction cup and we're just gonna use it to get some leverage. There we go. Now we are inside the phone. We're going to loosen up that adhesive with a pry tool. I'm using my nails because they work a lot better. There we go. We're going to turn off the device. So my last video, my audio quality was so bad. I apologize for that, guys. It's kind of a race to get these things opened up, and I didn't want to fall behind because of poor audio. So we're going to open it up. Okay, so our screen is being held up by our little tool here, and we're going to need to remove a few brackets. So we have to remove these screws. There's 1, 2, 3, and we have to remove this entire bracket. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These two are Phillips, so be careful. So we're just gonna unscrew that one and this one as well. We can remove this bracket. So this is our battery connector. We want to remove this first so there's absolutely no power going to the phone. So we're just gonna remove that. I unclipped it with my nails. You should do it with a plastic spudger, but I have more success doing stuff with my nails. If you guys watch my videos, you already know that. So we're also going to disconnect the screen, which is this flex cable here. Now we have to remove this bracket. So unscrew. And unscrew again. Now we're going to switch to a Phillips screwdriver, and we're just going to unscrew, and we can remove this plate. Now we have to remove the front, I keep saying front earpiece speaker, but they actually changed things up. The front earpiece speaker is not part of the phone, so I guess this is just the proximity sensor and probably a microphone and a couple other things. So we're going to disconnect that, and now we can take off the screen. So this would be the broken screen if we were to do the screen replacement. So we have to transfer over this module, which I guess, as I said, is a microphone, proximity sensor, and probably something else. So it looks like there's only 3 tri-point screws there. So we're going to grab our tri-point screwdriver, and we're just going to unscrew. We're going to unscrew the second one. And unscrew the third one. Now we can take off this bracket, and there we go. That is our microphone proximity sensor, and I don't know what that is yet, but we'll find out. I don't recommend you doing this repair if you just started fixing phones. This seems a little bit more advanced just because of how small and thin this flex cable is, and if you rip anything here, you'll probably end up damaging Face ID, and you'll need another one of these, which aren't even out yet. So anyway, we're gonna get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is just add a little bit of heat to the back side of the screen, not the front. Now we're going to take our Jimmy tool again. This is my favorite tool. I use it for everything. And we're slowly and gently going to just wiggle it and try and get under this thin flex. There we go.
So we don't know what kind of booby traps Apple set up for us. Hopefully nothing crazy. Again, you want to be really patient with this. It's glued down pretty well, and you could very easily mess this up.
So I recommend avoiding this area because of those gaps there. You could easily cut that cable, then you need a new one, and that won't be good, especially not now. Okay, so again, I'm just being as patient as humanly possible. There we go. So we have this part off. Pull that out. Now comes the tricky part. So we're going to add just a little bit more heat. You don't want to add any alcohol to this because it could seep into the screen in case you need it. So we're just going to pry up on the microphone first. There we go. There we go. Now comes the hard part. So this is quite hard to get out. I'm not too sure what it is yet, but we'll find out very soon. So pry from here and slowly pull it up. Definitely don't want to pry from there because that cable is way too thin. Again, you don't want to pry from there at all. It's just not a good idea. Okay, now we can pull this out. And it looks like it might be a proximity sensor. I'm not too sure yet. So we're going to put the screen aside and we're going to grab our new screen and we're going to place this back. Ideally, you should be putting more adhesive, but there is enough residue that it'll stick down. So it goes back on pretty easily. Now we're going to put that shield back on. I don't know if this is easier than the other screen replacements. Feels about the same difficulty, but I think it's easier to break this component than it was before. So we're now going to take the phone and we're going to take the screen. We're going to reinstall it. We're going to reinstall everything. There we go. We're going to reconnect the battery. And we're going to test it to make sure everything's working. So the phone booted and there's no Face ID warning or anything. So looks like we're good to go. One thing I will mention is the cameras are really awkward. They make repairing this phone really weird. The phone never sits flat, which is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. We're going to re-screw and screw the second one in. Take our Phillips screwdriver. Okay, so we got all the screws in. We're going to get that crunch. Get that crunch. So that is an iPhone 13 screen replacement. It's not that hard. I mean, it's a little difficult. You'll probably end up damaging this. I don't recommend that you do this, especially if it's still a new phone, because you could easily damage the screen or this. But yeah, it's really not the hardest thing in the world. Honestly, the iPhone 7 was probably harder to replace than this, but it's just a lot less expensive. This screen is probably worth around $600 or $700 right now, so definitely do not recommend doing this yourself if you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these videos. Sorry about the bad audio quality in the last one, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.